Wow, this was actually a perfect finale in my eyes. It was plain awesome, moving, hilarious, all at the same time. And you might say, perfect? Really? Well, it feels perfect. It's not absolutely perfect in every way, because sure, some of these pop songs in here, I would rather have some film score made for the scenes. I don't really like pop songs in my entertainment most of the time. That is the only nitpick I can think of. Let's talk about all the good stuff right now. Hi fellow Disney Plus watchers, this is Thoughts After a Disney Plus Watch, where we review everything new Disney Plus coming out, and I'm glad you're watching the channel that's all about Disney Plus movies and TV shows. So just fair warning here before we start, I do want to discuss spoilers for this season finale to really do it justice, so you can press that watch later button if you haven't seen it yet. Still here? Let's go. First of all, Bite Club is the best pun title for any of the episodes, hands down. As we remember from last week's ending, Scott is now captured by this generic villain who also just talks like a generic villain would talk. And I know I slam on the cases and missions itself most of the time, that I don't really think the mission objectives are all that engaging, and that what's so great about the show is the character's journey around it. But I actually thought the total cliche kind of bad guy that we mostly follow in this episode, who's molesting and locking up Scott throughout the majority of the story, I'm still trying to put my finger on it why it is, but the fact that he's so obviously evil, it just works so well here, because all the other characters in the story are so real and genuine. So the tropey, run-of-the-mill bad guy actually is all the better for it here because of the huge contrast. I think, in my opinion, it works in this episode, not all of them. But okay, Laura and Jessica and Erica and everyone that cares about Scott, they all feel like something is wrong. Scott's not picking up the phone, and as Xavier calls Scott's way of life, he always makes sure to charge his phone, so something's up. In the meantime, Scott is trying to get out of the barn and actually starts to bond with this other dog called Nuke. What I loved about it, and this show is doing this stuff so well, is that Nuke really put his guard down when he saw how vulnerable Scott was telling his story. By the way, so great that we get some flashback shots of his life, of Scott's life, and how he changed from being someone hating dogs to someone willing to sacrifice his love life and his job for a friend like Hooch. That's a true journey. It's come full circle, and I thought it was sweet that the episode really underlined that point. And the fact that he's telling the story to a dog he doesn't even know, not to Erica, not to Xavier, not to anyone, just a dog he just met, because who will understand his story better than a dog? What I dig about the story that just starts to unfold here is that it's an ensemble story. Everyone that Scott cares about teams up in a very natural way. The way the story progresses is really good. Laura, Grady, and David are on the particular case, and Xavier and Erica are hearing about it on the party and just instinctively both step in the car and go for it. And it's absolutely perfect that the mission objective in this season finale is finding Scott, retrieving him, rescuing him, because everyone from Scott's life wants to be involved. The stakes are up for everyone, and it's just, gosh, I can't believe how good this show is. And it's still at a 6.4 at IMDb. How? Remember Big Shot, guys? Yeah, it's not bad, but this show's way better, right? Please comment below if you've seen both shows. Yes, I'm randomly comparing these because a show like Big Shot apparently gets a 7.5? How is Turner and Hooch not way higher than this one? I don't hate Big Shot, not at all, but you get what I'm saying, right? But I digress completely. Sorry. I loved how well of a match Xavier and Erica were, and their scenes in the car. I mean, Xavier is so in tune with his spiritual and empathetic side. He immediately senses what's up with Erica and how she keeps trying to dump her feelings onto Angel just as an excuse while she's talking about herself all the time. And later on, when they rescued Scott and the three of them are in the car, I love that when Erica is excusing herself after screaming and hearing about that, the fact that Scott broke up with Brooke. And, you know, sometimes this show is all about the little moments, the little looks, you know, as she is ranting about, you know, I always do this, I always when I hear something like blah 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 blah. We see this quick, confident look from Xavier. He's looking at Scott and tries to tell him with that look, you know what's up, right? I love the acting and character work here. Talking about Xavier, I was laughing my freaking ass off when he said that line. Yeah, I train Scott, she trains Hooch, talking about Erica, but I guess there is some crossover there. It's funny because it's true. Erica is learning Scott all this stuff about his dog throughout this season, but teaches him even more about himself. And on missions, when Scott and Xavier are on the run, Xavier is teaching Scott a lot about patience and riding the wave and all sorts of stuff, which results in Scott being more in tune with his dog. So X also trains Hooch in a way. He's so right. There is some overlap. It's so true, it's funny, but the delivery of of the line was also great. You get a lot of moments and lines in this episode that just contains so much. The character build-up within this show is absolutely phenomenal in my eyes. I mean, even the chief gets a hell yeah moment. It's full circle now, guys. Throughout this show, he's always been the, no, I can't send you there. Scott, you need to stay on assignment or else don't take any unnecessary risks. I'll pick Trent. He's my yes man. You fucked up with Hooch again, Scott. And what does he do here? He drops his important meeting to help not only one of his marshals, one of his friends. That's right. Let's talk a bit about this scene right here. Laura, Grady, Erica, Xavier, I don't know why, but it really felt like a big Avengers Endgame assemble scene right here. I'm overreacting a bit. It's not that big, but you get, of course, because it's the moment before the final confrontation, but also because this scene contains the most payoff, the biggest payoff out of any scene in the show so far. In my eyes, it's the culmination. First, Laura. She comes up with a perfect plan and finally grows into the marshal she always tried to be on this case while working on this case. Like, even Scott says to her, you know that plan of yours? It's perfect. Grady is proud of her. Great. Full circle. It's also full circle for Scott. He knows he's risking everything, not waiting for backup. He wants to rescue the dogs, even if that means he jeopardizes the way the mission is supposed to go with, the martial code, let's call it that. This scene just felt so big for reasons like this. I could go on and on and on about how everything pays off and comes full circle. I say full circle way too many times. Xavier and Olivia get their moments and even their wedding. Grady gets his moment, admitting he was wrong but always wanted to be there for Laura even when it didn't seem like he did. And then we get to the Skaraka part of this episode, the final moment between them, fully aware of their love, walking towards each other on the dance floor, and I was wondering, will they just end this with a kiss or something? But nope, Hooch can't help himself and destroys everything in his path to get to the cake, the wedding cake, and it was perfect. I know, maybe you're watching this review and you think, oh man, he's so hyped up all the time and the whole way through, and why is he so much in love with the show? Again, this show just clicks with me. It's for all different reasons. I hope I explain well, but it just clicks with me, right? And this scene just underlines that perfectly. I don't know how else I would describe it. We don't get a generic, hey Scott, I loved you all this time. Let's kiss, let's kissy kiss kiss. No, we know that's gonna happen. We as an audience know all this time they belong together and you don't have to rub it in our faces, and they didn't. Keeping it sophisticated, ending it on a bit of a stinger, a classic Hooch moment. It's fun. It's perfect. Guys, talking about this season overall, I loved almost everything about it. Almost. Sure, not every mission is that interesting. Some of them are pretty generic sometimes. There were a couple of episodes that weren't that special. It's in the middle section of the season, but from episode 9 all the way through episode 12, it was absolutely amazing. And it started off really strong too, and overall it's just tight. And I'm thinking about wrapping this up. Thank you so much for watching. I'm curious, what did you think of this finale, but also the season as a whole? Be sure to let me know in the comment section. Don't forget, if you enjoy the idea of discussing Disney Plus content with us, that red button looks familiar, right? And if you're interested in thoughts on previous episodes, it's all in the description, or you can browse the channel page. Did you like this video? Then be sure to consider giving that a click. Thanks. I'll be back with a new episode of Doogie Kamealoha M.D. and Marvel's What If. For now, have a wonderful day and see ya.